Imagine taking over a legacy book series and writing the next installment, not only with the original author in mind, but their fan base. Talk about flying right into the danger zone. Before his book launch tonight, best-selling author, former Navy fighter pilot, Top Gun, and Dallas resident Jack Stewart. He's here to take us inside the pages of Direct Action. Good morning to you. It's an honor to meet you, and thank you so much for your service.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
We appreciate it. Now, your book is the 10th installment in the Presidential Agent series. That was originally written by the late detective fiction writer W.E.B. Griffin. I've got to ask you, that is a daunting task. He was a well-known, beloved author. Why did you want to take this on in the first place?
Quite simply, he was one of my heroes. Growing up, I read his books, and they influenced my decision to serve in the military. And so when I had the opportunity to continue writing this series, I just jumped on it.
Wow. Well, it certainly is a noble task, but one that I understand that you felt honored to do. And even though you are the sole author of the book, W.E. Griffin's, his name still appears on the cover. I'm curious about why that was important to you.
Well, I don't know if it's important to me as much as it is important to the fans, because I'm a fan first and foremost. Before I became an author, I love these series, and so I want readers to pick up this book knowing that they're going to get a W.E.B. Griffin story.
That's wonderful, and his name is prominent on that cover, as you can see, and I think that is once again notable that you wanted to make sure that he received much of the credit for the writings that you did. So taking over a legacy series takes courage, and also I got to give you spoiler alert, everybody, listen up. But you really open things up by gravely injuring the main character in the opening act. That's an impressive and a risky thing to do. Why did you start the book like that?
Well, the authors of the 9th book in the series, Rogue Asset, Andrews and Wilson, they're New York Times bestsellers. They introduced this character, Pick McCoy, and they advanced the storyline about 20 years. And so what they made Pick, they made him an understudy for Charlie Castillo. Mm-hmm. Well, I wanted to thrust Pick into the spotlight. The only way you can do that is by taking away the safety net. So Charlie had to go, at least for the story.
Well, I love the name Pick McCoy. As Paige McCoy Smith, I think that's a really cool name. All right, can you tell us about Pick McCoy? Tell us about him as a character.
Yeah, well, Griffin fans will recognize the name McCoy. Kenneth McCoy was the main character in his Core series, which is about Marines in World War II. And so Pick is a legacy Marine. He is the grandson of Kenneth McCoy, and you'll find a little bit more about his story in this book. But he's a MARSOC Raider, and in the last book, he was brought in to serve as understudy to the presidential agent.
Okay, well, you're here in Dallas. That's where you reside. In Texas, it plays a prominent role in the book. Tell me how and why.
Well, the original presidential agent, Charlie Castillo, he is from Texas. Griffin refers to him as a Texican, and he has a family history that goes back to the Alamo, and so there's no way I could talk about his history and the family without bringing him back to Texas.
All right, you also have these dual timelines, and also flashbacks. That can be very exciting for a reader, sometimes a little bit confusing for a reader. How are you able to kind of keep the story connected to fan favorite characters from earlier presidential agent books to this newest release?
Well, one of the things that Andrews and Wilson did when they introduced Pick McCoy was they made him a Naval Academy graduate. And as a Naval Academy graduate myself, I thought, well, it's a good opportunity to bring back a little bit of his backstory. And so the way I did that was by mirroring the way the original author did with Castillo's background in By Order of the President, which was the first book in the series. So in that book, we got to see Castillo as a young boy. We got to see him as a cadet at West Point, as an Army helicopter pilot. And so I wanted to do the same sort of thing with McCoy and tell his backstory. But I didn't want to do it in a way that was just for the sake of a flashback. So it had to have a reason to advance the story forward. And so the flashbacks actually provide some clues as to what's happening in the present timeline.
Well, I have to say, your decision to continue the legacy of W.E.B. Griffin is nothing short of brave, and it really does take a Top Gun to do so. I want to thank you so much. Let's talk a little bit about tonight's book launch party. Tell me all about it.
Yeah, so at the Half Price Books flagship store here in Dallas, 7 p.m., I'll be joined by Don Bentley, another fantastic author, also an Army helicopter pilot, and he was an FBI agent, so he's going to be very well-versed in grilling me. And so people who come can see me under the spotlight and interrogated.
I have a feeling you've been through worse.
Well, maybe once or
Maybe
twice.
a little bit, once or twice. Thank you so much, and congratulations. We appreciate it.
Thank
Once
you.
again, the book launch is tonight at 7 at Half Price Books. That's located on Northwest Highway in Dallas. For more information, go to jackstewartbooks.com.